Hey everyone, this is Paul with your Bold Profits Daily. Today, I want to give you 3 phenomenal, incredible tips to make your stock market investing more successful in 2020. And these tips are based on my going upness strategy, which is something that I came up with based on over 20 plus years of speculating, trading, investing. So let's get to this. So the number one thing that I'm going to tell you about is something that very, very few people focus on, which is that to make a successful stock market investment, you need someone to come and bid your stock higher. And in the going upness way of thinking, we call that in demandness. In other words, your stock needs to be in demand. Someone needs to like it a lot, that they come in day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and want to buy it at rising prices. Now, this may seem really obvious. However, the vast majority of people never really think about this. And when you never think about it, then it leads you to buy stocks that either stay flat, go down, whatever it is, they never go up. So there's 3 real things that I can point you to on a way to measure this. Thing number 1, focus on sectors of the market that are rising. In other words, the market is broken up into a lot of different sectors. For example, I've told you in previous videos to buy the semiconductor sector using an ETF or the housing sector using an ETF. So that's what a sector is. And you can find this kind of information on websites like investors.com, which is the Investors Business Daily newspaper website, FinViz, TradingView, bar chart. You can see what are the leading sectors in the market. And so that's your way number 1 of making sure that you're picking a stock that is in a sector that is in demand. Now, once you pick the sector, you might think, well, there might be 100 stocks in the sector. Maybe there might be even more than 100. Which stock should I pick? And what you want to do is pick the leading stocks. In other words, the stock that has the most demand, that is the most popular among traders, the ones that people really desire the most, because that's the one that they're going to come most weeks, most months, and come and bid it higher. And how can you measure that? Well, a lot of these websites will tell you what the top stock is. However, I'm going to give you 2 additional ways to do it, 2 phenomenal ways. One is look at a stock that is making a series of 52-week highs. Now, I know that this is counterintuitive to a lot of people. However, if a stock is not making continuous highs, it is no longer in demand. So you want to actively go seek out stocks that are actually making new highs. And I know that this makes people fearful and afraid. However, this is the way to make money in the stock market. Way number 2 is to find a stock that is being supported around its 10-day moving average. In other words, if you take the last 10 days of trading and divide it by 10, using the closing price, you can find that the stock rarely goes below that line. And that's a sign of a stock that is in demand, that people want and they desire, and they're willing to come day after day and buy it. So in demandness, that's the number 1 way that you can improve your trading, your investing in 2020. The second way that you can improve your investing in 2020 is to focus on growth. And when I talk about growth, I'm talking about sales growth. Sales, for me, is the only thing that matters when it comes to a company. Other people would tell you to focus on earnings. Other people will tell you to focus on the balance sheet and things like that. However, for a growth investor, which is what I am and which is where the current market is and where there is the greatest amount of money to be made today, and I believe in 2020, focus on growth and focus on sales growth. And what you want to see there is rising sales growth, not just sales growth. In other words, as a company goes from quarter to quarter, year to year, you want to see its growth rising, or at the very least, not going down. Now, no company grows in a straight line. However, a company should be able to show you a rising trend of sales growth. And those are the companies that are going to be in demand. Those are the companies that are going to be the top of those sector charts when you go to see which stocks are best performing in each sector. All right, tip number 3 to get you phenomenal results in your investing and trading for 2020 is to focus on the number of shares. Now, in the going upness way of looking at the world, the critical factors for me and for our investors and our readers and Profits Unlimited and all my other services is demand and supply. And so we've largely now dealt with the demand side of it. In other words, we looked at what is in demand based on price, what is in demand based on rising growth, and the third thing you need to focus on is the number of shares. And now this is a little bit tricky because there are 2 ways to measure it. One, you can measure it on an absolute basis, and you can look at companies and say, are the number of shares rising, or are they declining, or they stay flat? And generally speaking, if there are a lot of shares that are being pushed into the stock market, that means there is a lot of supply, and unless there is equal amounts of demand or more, the stock is going to struggle to rise. So you want to be aware of the number of shares that are out there and whether they are rising or falling. However, there is a little twist to this. Many fast-growing companies issue shares to fund their growth. They issue shares as compensation to their employees. And so it is a bit of a relative calculation relative to their growth. So this last one is a little bit tricky, which is why folks like me have a job, which is why folks like me, we have a following and people pay, for example, to read our newsletter, because we are able to take all of those factors and sort of whittle it down to a simple buy or sell decision. And we tell you that on a regular basis. Now, if you're interested in getting a newsletter where someone is looking at the stock market using demand and supply, using going upness, and where we try to generate gains on a regular basis based on companies, phenomenal, incredible companies that are growing, well, click on the strong hands above, and that will get you into a web page that will give you all the details to get into my Profits Unlimited service, which is my base service. Now, alternately, I can also tell you that I've just released my first book, which is also called Profits Unlimited, which is a Wall Street Insider Reveals the Secret to Life-Changing Wealth, which has my going upness strategy in it. Now we're going to be doing the official launch either today or tomorrow, so you can also get more on going upness and how we look at the stock market through this book right here. Okay, if you like this video, please give this a thumbs up. Share with your friends and family. Comment below. Do you consider demand and supply when you invest? Are you going to take into account the 3 incredible things I mentioned in this video? And I'll have another one of these for you next week. Until then, this is Paul saying bye.